Thanks for tuning in to this episode of I Have Something to Say, where subject matter experts are unafraid and unapologetic about sharing their perspectives regarding issues that impact our lives. They speak up because basically they give a shit. So if you're tired of canned answers and want to finally hear real people cut through the BS and talk about real issues, this is the podcast for you. I'm your host, Sami Heyman Marrero from Urbender, and behind our mixer is our producer, Chris Majoka from UdoU. Hi, everyone. We hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday and that everyone out there was safe and continue to be safe as we move into the month of December. And today we wanted to get the team together just to think a little bit about this past year. This has been rough. And just trying to reflect a little bit on things that have changed from a connectivity standpoint, like connecting with others, and also in terms of doing business and meeting people and just anything really that was affected due to the pandemic. And try to get everybody's thoughts and see out there if you guys agree, don't agree, or if you've experienced the same thing in terms of three things. Number one, what do you appreciate about the change? Secondly, what do you miss from our lives, right? Pre-COVID. Mm-hmm. And then last but not least, what changed and now is going to stick? It's not going anywhere. And so I think this is going to be a fun conversation that we really haven't addressed even, outside of the podcast. And so I'm curious really what you all have to say. And so let's kick it off. Luna, what do you appreciate? What do you appreciate about the changes experienced this past year?
Well, I think that at the beginning of the pandemic, everything was very complicated, and we started having like multiple Zoom meetings, and you had 4 one day and 3 the other, but it has become more intentional. So now I appreciate that specific thing, that meetings have become more intentional. So now you focus on what you really want. It's not like you need to be everywhere. So you realize that you can be intentional. What I miss the closeness to my family. It comes as a part of my cultural background. Hispanics are very physical. And I think that's the thing that I miss the most, being able to express myself. Because for many years, I learned how to have a neutral face because I had to deal with reporters for a long time. And that's a way to not let them know what you're thinking, have a blank face. So I had to get used to that. And I used my body expressions to express my feelings, the closeness with my family. I'm a big hugger. I kiss everyone. And that's the thing that I miss the most. And what I think is going to stick, I think this is this new medium of communicating is going to be there to stay, because I think that we have realized that we can be as effective remotely with remote meetings as we can be in person. And many organizations are realizing that it is also a more a better way for them to control their expenses. Having people in their houses, they don't have to pay for electricity, other things that costs that represent having an employee in the office. So I think that remote work will stay. It's here to stay.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear all of those things, and I actually echo all of those things. It wouldn't surprise me that there's a common thread, right? Yep. Amongst all of us, right? What about you, Shalanda?
I think for me, what I appreciate about this year is I think a lot of people trim the fat. And what I mean by trim the fat is we realized, I guess, because we're Americans, I'll focus on Americans, we tend to be consumers of a lot of things that we don't necessarily need, right? And so I think what I appreciate is, at least for me, I realize I don't need as much as I have. and the things that I need are not materialistic. Like when it comes down to a core need, most of my core needs are not materialistic. Yeah, you need shelter and you need food, but beyond that, I need my friends and my family. That's a necessity for me. And that realization, or that understanding, or reconnecting to the fact that you don't need a lot of things. What you really need are people and relationships and love and support and people looking out for you and caring. Those are the important things. So that's what I appreciated about this year, because as crazy as it was, I think, at least for me, what I found was I had more of that than I probably thought or paid attention to. So coming from a very pragmatic person, that's a very mushy response. That's what I appreciate. That's what I appreciate. Um, so with that, like Luna, I really miss, and I'm very much of a loner, and I like people, but I do need my own space to recharge. I miss the human touch too. I mean, even when we see each other now, it's like you have this awkwardness. You want to hug, you don't want to hug because you want to be safe, and you're doing this little dance thing. So I'm hoping that as soon as everything is over with and we can clear, I'm just going to hug you guys. I'm going to squeeze you so tight you're not going to be able to breathe. And all my friends and family. So that's what I really, really miss, is the human touch. And what I think is going to stick, I've reconnected with friends and family from different places that I've lived from the past. But I've also made some amazing, amazing new friends that I have never met in person. Like I met a wonderful, wonderful person through LinkedIn out of Canada, and she's just absolutely amazing. And I'm hoping relationships like that I've established stick, global connections that we've made during this time. I hope that sticks.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know that's happened to me. I think to everybody really on this call, that it's like we broaden our net in the sense where we're not so confined now to just the territory or whatever. Like we've really been able to realize that, wait a second, why haven't I done this before? Right. Yeah. That's really good. Yeah. Same here. Ditto, ditto, ditto. And what about you, Chris?
Let's see. I would say, I guess first what I appreciate, certainly after this year is, which I probably would not have given the same answer a few months ago, but I really do appreciate the reset. I just felt like my life, people around me, just society in general was just going so fast, and I think from a personal standpoint and a professional standpoint, this reset has really helped me like evaluate. I think it was mentioned, connecting with old friends through technologies we've had, but just didn't, have the time or take the time to use them before to reconnect. And then I think even just, when I've taken a step back, even professionally, from going to all these networking meetings and, trying to meet new people and see who's doing what, I think in a weird way, COVID kind of showed you who was really playing ball and who wasn't.
Yes.
And and so to that point, I mean, I really figure it out kind of who I want to associate with more, who I am because of that. And something I think we were talking about this before the call of if meetings are happening and they're off site somewhere, like going to rethink whether they're actually going to leave the house to go now, whereas before you would have just been out all day. But I think it's really helped me reevaluate who I'm again meeting with, associating with, and the values that we align with, and if we can really create together and not just random one-off things. But I would say the thing I miss, in addition to, I guess, the opportunity to go out and go to concerts and things like that, for me, the biggest thing is I just my being away from family. My family's all in Massachusetts, and my wife's family's in Connecticut, and we live in Florida. And so the last time I was there, I left on New Year's Eve of last year, and have not been back since. And as of right now, don't know when we would be able to go back. So, just my little nephew and everything like that, just kind of being away from them. And FaceTime is good with that. And again, we were talking about, technology and stuff, but it's just not the same. And again, the not being able to give hugs and things like that. Things that I do think will stick, certainly a lot of the technology advancements. I think these meetings pre-COVID were meant literally just to bring people in together, to talk and get them audio and video working correctly. And now it's really like a design thing, and how are you going to be, a better production than the next, even like watching TV shows from, when quarantine first started, of how they quickly adapted, and like things just like, oh, that doesn't look right, or I don't like these Zoom things. And now, they're back on sets, but still social distancing and figuring it out. And I think it's just really cool that I think there's a lot of advancements, and even my business as a video producer has changed drastically to converting to more of an online and a virtual kind of landscape. And I think that's only going to continue to progress now that companies are kind of forced to innovate in this space a lot more, given the circumstances.
Yeah, there's just so much going on. I hadn't thought about that, about the traveling. Yeah, I miss traveling too, because that's the only way we were able to make sure that the kids knew the grandmas,
Exactly.
Thank God they're old enough to get on the phone, and because if they were little, they would have missed out on a full year, right, of communicating with them. Yeah, so you're right. That could be on my list too. I think that on my appreciate list, I have 3 things. Number 1, I think one of the biggest one is how America came out to vote and made and changed the course of our future. And so big thank you. Big thank
and made
you.
history.
Thank you, for showing up. America showed up, and so that's like huge. So, okay, now I know that, yeah, and with the ad, right? I think and then 2 more things. I really appreciate not having to invest time in commuting. While it's great to see people, but for the smaller meetings, that it's more like probing, or that you really don't have yet an established relationship with the person, it's kind of cool to, just hop on a call and get the vibe, And I've also appreciated that people are showing up authentically too, that in those conversations, and it's almost like, wow, you can develop meaningful relationships, even though it's like this over the phone.
Virtual.
So I've met a lot of new people, and it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm eating something, or mind my hair. Please don't mind my hair. I look like this because I take my phone, and and so I feel like people have let their guard down, which has led to being able to be just more human to human and connect at a deeper level, even though you're not physically there, through, Zoom or whatever platform that you're using. And so I appreciate that. I appreciate just people just not taking themselves so seriously anymore, even with clients and stuff. It's like you feel, I don't know, I just feel like this vibe, like, don't worry about it. The world's not going to end, basically, And I think that, that's what COVID has done, right? That you're like, really? Is it like that important for
you
you
don't just with the small stuff as much.
So I appreciate that. What do I miss? Absolutely. The touchy, huggy, kissy, meeting with all you guys. Yes, and breaking bread. And breaking bread, because that's like our thing, right? Since we've always worked virtually, we have this habit when clients or a prospective client would say, oh, so where's your office? So we could meet in person. We'd say, well, pick a restaurant and we'll treat, so we're like, we're not going to pay rent on an office, on an office where we could just go and have a nice meal. And we used to do that at least twice a week. So I miss that. I miss just going out and having, a nice meal with
I
you
miss our
guys.
Monday morning meetings too.
Yes,
Our
and on
Monday
Monday
morning meetings with the team,
yeah,
we all get
always
together
fun.
and have coffee
Yeah,
and
we would have
quesito.
coffee together and all of that. I mean, we still have them, but whatever.
And the road
It's not.
trips.
And so,
Yes, and the road
so
trips. Sorry for
what do you
interrupting,
think is good?
Tiffany.
What was that? What was that?
I said the road trips. Yeah.
Oh, the road trips. Well, that's part of travel, right? Or road trips.
Yeah.
I miss our road trips where we just get in the car and say, "Let's go," And so those were fun too. Yeah. So there's a lot that I miss. But the thing that I think is going to stick is a little bit of what Chris just said. It's just that discernment of like, do I really have to be there in person? I mean, is this, you start appreciating time and energy, as an asset,
Yeah.
because when people are losing their jobs and when you're living in uncertainty, all of a sudden those things like time, energy, your
And
your
health.
thinking tank up here, your knowledge and stuff
Mhm.
become valuable assets. And I think that you need to guard them and protect them too, as if it was a loaded bank account, or if it was a precious jewel or whatever, And so I think that's going to stick, setting those boundaries where, it's like really deciding or establishing some set of criteria to really pick and choose when to really show up physically. Like you could show up like this, for certain things, but showing up and really investing the time in commuting and in the, coming back and all of that in being in an in-person environment. So
Yeah.
I think that on my end, anything, that you think you forgot to mention or that made you think, or any kind of anecdotes that made you decide on what you think is so important to mention today. I wouldn't
Yeah.
compromise anybody. You don't want to compromise
No.
anybody, but anything
I
you
was
share?
reading the other day that I was reading the other day how this pandemic has affected the planet as well, because you don't have so many cars running on the streets now, so less gases. So there's areas where the wildlife is
Flourishing again.
yeah,
Yeah.
flourishing again. So it's been good for the planet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting because I was having a conversation with our friend Dwight, and during the pandemic, and we were like, it's almost as if when everything stopped, the whole entire world took a deep inhale and exhale. It was just like they just took a deep breath from just doing, and just took that breath to just be for a moment,
Yeah.
which I
Yeah.
think was very, very powerful. As far as your collective consciousness and stuff
Mhm.
goes, I thought that was very powerful. Yeah.
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 So that was a
That
blessing in
is a good
disguise.
visual. Yeah.
Mhm.
It is a very good visual representation of that, right? And
Yeah,
I feel like, uh-huh. Go ahead.
no, that even though we're separated, we have this feeling that we're in this together. So it's kind of
Yeah.
Mhm.
paradox, together but
Yeah.
separated.
But
Yeah.
separate.
Yeah.
And I think that's why also we've been able to advance. I think that saving of time and that need to really focus on what really matters has helped us also invest our time and our energies in those relationships that have weight, right? Even if
Right.
we met that we met, and we've experienced that. I think that just in our team collectively with the different projects that we're working on, it's because it's these people that stay connected, that came with crazy new ideas, and we love that, and are just doers, right? They're doers, and so it's fantastic because it almost feels like you've been able to like weed out, like okay, and also maybe confirm like that gut feeling that you had, even before the pandemic. And yeah, so I think it's been fantastic. I'm really excited about what's coming, and furthering these relationships. I'm really excited that it's above and beyond just our region, Central Florida. We were already doing that, like working in other states and stuff like that, but I feel like now it's bam, like global, like, and like really rich, human-centered, programs. And like we're hyper focused on what our mission is. And yeah, it's like it's like we had all this freaking time to fine tune, what we wanted to do, And it's good, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Yes, it does.
I'll actually add to that. Just as far as like we were talking about, kind of what we appreciate and how, discernment of people saying, well, things aren't so bad, or we'll let this slide. People are a little more lax and the vibe's a little better. I think that also from a collaborative standpoint, people are much more willing to collaborate nowadays. They're getting out of there like, oh, this is my business. Well, how is this going to affect this? And taking away from like that personal self-worth to saying, well, and a lot of people, at least who we're surrounding with and stuff, are more about the community and working on something bigger than themselves or their own businesses. And I feel like a lot more partnerships, at least in my world or my circles, are forming as a result of, and yeah, a lot of people are furloughed and starting new things. So they're like, hey, well, sure, I'll jump on that idea with you, or let's try it out. Let's see where it goes, because right now, it's kind of the Wild West in terms of, the industry still balancing themselves out and stuff. So I just feel like more people are.
Yeah, totally. You're right. And I think it's like this feeling, unsaid feeling of a realization of like, if you're okay, I'm okay.
Yep.
And I think people are coming to realize that, I mean, there's people that don't care and just are living like nothing's happening. But we won't talk about people. But in general terms, people that, are aware, of how my behavior can affect, or my knowledge or my expertise or even my challenges, can be the same as a fellow business owner in my case, and so then let's share instead of competing against each other. Why can't we just come and join forces? And it's like, oh, you're going through that too? Me too. And it creates like this. I was just talking to our friend Lakeisha. I told her, and he said, she's like, oh my God, we spend all this time bonding. And I say, yeah, and the beauty about bonding is that bonding is binding. And she's like, did you just come up with that? And I'm like, yeah. Right. But think about it. When you bond with people, then it's binding, because then you're committed to them.
Yep.
You're vested in their interest, in their well-being, in their future, in growing and building wealth together. And that's not only monetary wealth, it's in wellness and just being okay and living with dignity. And I think that I'm hoping that sticks. That's for sure.
Yeah.
We don't get back into our selfish ways, right? Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So is that the end of the podcast?
We're just letting that settle.
Right.
That's a wrap, baby. So,
Yeah,
they
I
said
remember.
thank you.
I remember
mean,
last
so then
last
there are a lot
year.
of things that we were thinking alike on, and I just hope that we're able to break bread soon. I'm tired. I'm exhausted of seeing the same people all day, all the time. Yeah. And I really do pray that people, are able to reinvent themselves and find and reach out to even people that they don't know really well. But I found that too, people that are sometimes timid to reach out, even on LinkedIn, and say, hey, I saw your profile, whatever, or on Facebook or whatever, that they feel that they can reach out, because there are a lot of people out there too that are not talking, or that feel really lonely, or don't have a scapegoat or someone to share whatever is on their mind, or that they feel that this is happening only to me. And
To
so
them.
it's good
Yep.
to reach out and to let people know. It makes a difference to place that call maybe to that friend that you haven't spoken to in 3 months, and say, hey, I've been thinking about you, and because you just never know what that person might be going to. And so it takes 5 minutes to send a text or to place a call. And so this holiday season, it'd be cool if we can spread the love virtually and make sure that our peeps and the peeps of our peeps are all okay.
They're okay.
So, yeah, totally. So anyway, I love you all. I'm glad that we did this exercise. Yeah. And I really hope to see you guys soon, even if it's from like 6 feet of depth separation with our
Air hug. Air hug.
Yeah, exactly, like a half-ass hug, but that it really fits where we want it to, Yeah. The kissy and all of that good stuff, right? Yeah. It's like I'm over it, but when it's all over, oh my God, the party.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're gonna party for a week.
Party hard. Yes. Party hard, Not crazy. We don't have to go to a club or anything like that. I'm too old for that. No. We're gonna do house parties. How's that, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll house hop.
How's up?
I love you guys, and to everyone out there, hope you're well. Please be safe and reach out to people old and new, so that they know that you're thinking of them. Okay?
Yeah.
I'll talk to you.
Love you
Awesome.
guys.
Bye, everybody.
Take care. Bye.
This concludes this episode of I Have Something to Say. We want to thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to tell your friends about us. We're on Spotify and iTunes as well. There's more to come next week. And remember, if you have something to say, it's time to speak up.